Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, Celtic brought about a pretty last gasp signing at the end of the summer window when they brought in American international Cameron Carter-Vickers on a season-long loan. Now, the deal has an option to buy, and we're going to find out a little bit about Cameron Carter-Vickers because we're speaking to Larry Henry Jr., who covers a lot of American football, or soccer as Larry might call it, for 1:37 p.m. He used to be the editor of SBI Soccer. Basically, Larry, you know a lot about American football or soccer.
Yeah, I do my best, man. Thanks a lot for having me. Celtic obviously getting a good addition there, and Cameron Carter-Vickers, who has a lot of experience, 23 years old, and has played a lot in the English Championship. So that's a grueling league, long season, 46 games, and I think will be a huge hit at Celtic as they try to get back and win the premiership this season.
We should rewind a little bit, Larry. You're our first ever American, I think, on the channel. So how do you feel about that honour?
I feel great. It's a good accomplishment there. So thanks a lot again for having me. And I think hopefully maybe more to come. Hopefully maybe a few more Americans come in the door at Celtic. Obviously Tim Weah was there not that long ago, so it's been a little bit of a period since in between his time and now Cameron's time there.
Yeah. Tell us about Cameron Carter-Vickers then, because you've kind of been on top of this probably all summer. It's been a bit of a summer saga. It's gone on for months and months, and then it was completed in, I think, the last 10 minutes of the summer window from our point of view. What have you known about Celtic's interest in Cameron Carter-Vickers this summer?
Well, it's been definitely a crazy ride for him, and probably also for the club too, because they had been looking for another center back. Obviously, I'd seen a lot of the reports overseas that Celtic was looking for a center back. Obviously, after Azure had gone to over to Brentford in the Premier League, so they needed some help. And the big thing with Carter-Vickers was it was like you said, kind of going to the last minute. Celtic had been involved along with Newcastle United and also Bournemouth at one point in the summer. It seemed when I first kind of got word of who was interested, it was Newcastle, Bournemouth, and Celtic, and obviously the Celtic interest kind of came a little bit out of nowhere to me because obviously Newcastle needed some defensive help as well, and Graham Jones, who's an assistant there, worked with Cameron Carter-Vickers at Luton Town, where he was on loan, not this past season, but the season before, 2019-20, and then Bournemouth, where he was on loan last season. So he was familiar with obviously Bournemouth and also Graham Jones at Newcastle. But and then there were some other teams earlier in the year in the mix. I know Fulham, who had just went down, was in the mix. Cardiff City. There was even some teams from Italy who had shown interest, but I think that the Cameron wanted to stay in England. That was the word that I was getting, and he wanted to try to prove himself there. But as you probably saw yesterday, a lot of late kind of moves shaken all throughout the Premiership and also the Premier League. It seemed like Carter-Vickers was going to get stuck at Tottenham, and
Yeah.
he wasn't going to be playing much. I mean, we saw him in the Conference League first leg and against Pacos de Ferreira, and didn't look that confident on the ball. Didn't look looked like a guy that was a little rusty, and then suffered a knock, missed a week through that. And but I think the fact that he gets a loan now is huge because now he can continue playing, continue getting minutes. I think it's a win-win for both parties for sure. Celtic get a guy who's eager to ready to play, and Cameron gets a great atmosphere now coming to Glasgow and playing for Celtic, and hopefully featuring in Europe and also in Scotland.
Have Celtic wanted Carter-Vickers for a long time then? Or was it just a real, as you say, last gasp? Carter-Vickers wasn't going to get a move. Celtic kind of pounced at the last minute. Or have they actually had an interest in him for a while?
No, they definitely had an interest throughout the summer when it first came out. Like I said, I was a little shocked just because of at the time. I mean, when you look at clubs like Newcastle in the Premier League and some others as well, you wonder if he would be the right fit to go to Celtic, and also would he be able to get a chance to play? I mean,
Yeah.
it's one thing if you go on loan and you're playing regularly, but it's another thing when you go on loan and you're not able to crack the squad. And so Celtic were involved throughout the summer. There was a little period, maybe like a 2-3 week period, when I was getting word that kind of interest had slowed down a little bit, and it seemed like it was only between Newcastle and Bournemouth at that time, I believe. The issue was that whether or not Tottenham wanted to loan him out. The word was Tottenham wanted a permanent sale because his contract expired next summer, and they wanted to get a fee for him. And then obviously Newcastle had their own kind of financial issues over the last few weeks and everything, bringing guys in. So then it kind of became a situation of, okay, can Tottenham get anything, in return for him, whether that's a loan. And now that he did get a loan, his contract is extended another 12 months there at Tottenham. So when the loan does end, they can, Celtic do have the option to buy if it works out. Tottenham would get a decent fee, probably. I would think anywhere from 3 to 4 million pounds for him. It seems like a lot for a guy that hasn't played first team football for that club, but again, he's got a good amount of experience for his age. When you look at a lot of the other Americans that are playing in Europe, he's been there for several years now, and I think that will help him. So Celtic have been in the mix, and I think it's good to see. Again, I think it's a good move for them. Definitely, they're playing, at a high level right now, and could definitely use another center back. Whether that's he's going to be jumping right in the lineup, or at least pushing for a spot right away. And but I think it's a win-win for both parties in this situation.
So, how is Carter-Vickers viewed in America?
Yeah, he's a guy that definitely a competitor for sure. Had some early chances with the national team, and is kind of fallen off the radar a little bit because we've seen, in America, we've seen so many guys kind of rise up the ranks in Europe right now. So he's kind of fallen down the pecking order a little bit. But there was mentioning that he was going to play in the Gold Cup this summer, and that I think his transfer situation kind of hurt those chances because he wanted to move, and the focus was on that, maybe not the Gold Cup. So he wasn't brought in, but overall I think he's definitely a talent for sure. I touched on earlier, good 1v1 defender, physical guy, and also a dangerous in the offensive box, whether it's set pieces and corners. So I think he's a guy that a lot of American fans were happy to see him go somewhere and not kind of get stuck at Tottenham, just sitting and waiting around until next summer to see to earn, get a move when his contract ended. So a lot of people were definitely excited to see him go, and I think a lot of people were excited too just to see him go to Celtic because they know the history there, they know the history of winning, and Timothy Weah, who was there a few seasons ago, obviously did pretty decent in his time there and kind of became a fan favorite a little bit. And obviously it said so much positives about the club and the fan base. So I think Cam will definitely enjoy that. And overall, I think this should be a great kind of learning experience for him in a new league after playing in England for so long in his early career.
Yeah, you mentioned Timothy Weah. I'm trying to rack my brains now and think of any other American players. I think the only one I can come up with is a goalkeeper. You may not even have heard of him, called Dom Chervy, that we had about 10 years ago. I think he was about 6'5", American goalkeeper. One player we were linked with, and when you were chatting there about American centre backs who have gone to Europe and performed well, it was a player called Mark McKenzie from Philadelphia Union. Now you'll be able to tell me. I think he went to Belgium.
Yeah, he went to Genk in Belgium.
Right.
Yeah. So he's a guy that I know. He's a guy that I've covered a lot. I live right near the Philadelphia area. Came from the Philadelphia Union, was a homegrown there, and is now with the men's national team as they get ready to start off qualifying this week. So I was kind of a little bummed to see him go to Genk because I obviously watch more Celtic than I do Genk. So it would have been cool to see him there. But I guess the rest is history, so you say.
So how does Carter-Vickers kind of go if he was head to head with McKenzie? Who's a better player there, in your opinion?
It's tough, right? I mean, I think right now McKenzie might have him beat just for the fact that I think he has a higher ceiling than Carter-Vickers. But Carter-Vickers does have the experience. He, like I said, he's played over 120 games in the championship and has played for several teams there. You know, Stoke City and Sheffield United. McKenzie's still kind of getting his footing in Europe. Is still kind of working for a starting role with Genk. He's been in and out of the lineup. Although his stock with the national team seems to be very high as they try to kind of find their, you know, consistent starting lineup there. But overall, I think they're both probably around the same when you look at talent and physical ability defensively, and McKenzie a little bit taller, maybe a little bit more physical, and I think overall a better long range passer. But Carter-Vickers right there with him when it comes to defensive abilities against opposing players.
Brilliant. So when Celtic fans see Carter-Vickers playing for the first time, hopefully very soon, what is the first thing do you think that's going to kind of spring out from Carter-Vickers the way he plays?
I think just, he plays, very aggressive as a center back should. Maybe not over aggressive in a way, but, he does a lot of small things right. Maybe things that go a little unnoticed. And again, is out there to help keep clean sheets. He did that. Pretty well at Bournemouth, and now I think has a new challenge now going into the Premiership where, any week anybody can beat anybody, whether it's, you're playing teams at the bottom to where you're playing Rangers or Aberdeen or Hibs. So I think the Celtic fans will surely enjoy seeing Carter-Vickers there, and I think he's a guy that's going to give everything for the jersey and put everything out there.
So gives us all. Strong tackler, good with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, it's tough. I would say he's a better short kind of passer around the back than maybe long range like a McKenzie. But overall, I think he makes the smart decisions. He doesn't try to risk a lot. And I think you need that as a center back where sometimes risks are good and they pay off, but a lot of times I feel like they kind of backfire. And I think he does everything, with the right set of mind and does, takes a lot of good chances instead of risking things. So I think you'll see that when he steps on the field.
We're a really kind of possession-based team. I mean, Celtic going back through the years have always been like that, but now particularly our new manager, Ange Postecoglou, an Aussie manager who really likes to play football and likes his defenders to be able to pass the ball. So it's interesting to just ponder how Carter-Vickers will get on with that. Obviously playing in Europe and playing against better teams in Scotland, the ones you just mentioned, he's going to have to do a bit of defending. But a lot of the time, I think our next game is at home to Ross County. That's the kind of game when he's going to maybe not have a lot of defending to do, but what he is going to have to do is start attacks from the back. Is he quick?
Yeah, he's a quick guy. Like I said, maybe not the tallest in any way, or maybe like long strides, but he is quick. He is pacey, can stay with forwards. And again, it'll be a new challenge for him, like you said, going into that league. And again, playing some teams that will be sitting back and try to hit teams on the counter. But overall, I think he did exceptionally well at Bournemouth and probably what was his toughest challenge yet, playing for a team that was trying to get promoted to the Premier League again. And I think did everything he could to try to help them get there. They fell just short in the end. But overall, I think in his biggest challenge, he kind of rose to the occasion. And even the year before when he was with Luton Town, kind of helped them fight off relegation from the championship. So we've seen kind of both ends of the spectrum now with promotion and relegation and has done well with it. So now it's all about, like you said, getting ready for European action because he hasn't really played in much of that. And then also getting Celtic some domestic silverware and also get back to winning the premiership because I know the fans there are probably very excited to bounce back after last season.
Definitely, we're very much hoping for that this season, Larry. The next question I've got that so many people watching this will have, you probably won't be aware of this, but we have such a problem defending set pieces at the moment. Most recently at Ibrox against Rangers on Sunday, not a lot in that game. We conceded a pretty slack set piece goal and lost the game 1-0. In your opinion, is this something Carter-Vickers can help with?
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think he's good at doing those defensive things. He might not wow you in the way of like a lot of these other younger defenders over there, but again, he does everything right at a consistent level. And set pieces is another thing he's good at. Clearing the ball, making himself kind of available in the box to get on crosses offensively, and then defensively, man marking and doing well to make sure that it's not it's not his guy that he's going up against that's beating him. So overall, I did, like I said, I did watch the game against Rangers, and I think he could surely help with Celtic because it's great that they beat the teams that they should be beaten, but they're going to have to beat Rangers at some point. I think you'll agree with me there.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. And hopefully Carter-Vickers can help with that. And one thing I did notice about him as well is that he can play right back, and he has played there in the past. Do you see him fitting in at right back at all for Celtic, or is he going to be a centre back?
I mean, it's an option. It's definitely how the manager wants to kind of approach it, but I think you're going to see him more as a center back. That's his natural position. He's played well there. He's played the most there. And if something does happen and they decide to go in a different direction, he could play right back. But I don't think he's a guy that's you're going to see bombing down the right wing and getting crosses into the box. He's going to be a guy that wants to defend first and attack second. And I think, as a right back, you probably want your right backs getting up the field. And overall, he's a kind of a stay-at-home guy that, obviously wants to keep clean sheets and keep the other team from scoring. So you're going to probably see him at center back more than you would at right back.
He's got an interesting story, doesn't he? I think his mother's English, his dad American. Did his dad play NBA or something like that in years gone by?
Yeah, I believe his dad, was a pro athlete, Howard Carter. You did, exactly right. His mom was English, but his dad, yeah, was, played professional basketball. And I think, Cam got some, kind of experience with that, kind of what it takes to be at that level and be a pro and how much work you have to put in, on and off the field to get there. So, but I would say, how his dad wasn't maybe one of the most, he wasn't in the NBA for, very long. He was only with the Denver Nuggets for 1 year, and then also the Dallas Mavericks before he moved overseas, when Cam was younger. But definitely, yeah, I think that helps Cam in a way where he got to see how much work you need to put in to get to where, be successful and be a pro. But his dad was playing well before I was born. It was the early 80s. So.
Me too. We're both clearly very, very young people, Larry. There was a really good YouTube video, you've probably seen it, of basically Cameron Carter-Vickers' story. I think it was USMNT that put it up, and it tells him, a bit. It tells us a bit about his story, his origins. As I say, his mum is English, his dad American. Growing up, how he moved to Spurs, I think when he was 16 years old. That it's really good and well worth a watch, definitely. The final question for you, and no pressure here, how do you think he's going to get on at Celtic?
I think it's a win-win for him. I think he knows that that this will be a new experience for him. He will be in the mix to bring home some trophies, whether that's the league or the domestic cups, and also in Europe, pending how far Celtic can go. But I think he knows that his long-term future at Spurs, there really is no future there. He wants, I think he's going to have to get out of there, and I think this is a great opportunity for him. That if you exceed at Celtic, bring home some silverware, and play regularly, then that's just going to kind of help your stock when it comes to them deciding what's next for you in the summer, whether that's going to Celtic permanently, whether that's going to another team in England. I know in the past he was linked with MLS, but I really don't see that happening yet because he's still so young, and his wage demand is pretty high, I think, for some of the MLS clubs per week. So, but again, I think it's really the opportunities out there now. It's just for him to take it, and I think he will. He's a competitor. I've talked to him in the past with the national team, and he just wants to play. Yeah, he just wants to play and play regularly, and he's good at what he does. So I think the Celtic fans will surely enjoy him and his competitiveness and his abilities, and I think he'll enjoy playing in front of the stadium there and the diehard fans that come every week.
You say you've met him in the past. Is he quite a likeable guy? Do you think the Celtic support will take to him?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen him at U.S. national team camps, and obviously talked on the phone with him, before the start of each season, and yeah, he's definitely a likable guy, for sure. A little bit of a jokester in a way, and and I think again he's just eager to play and wants to get make the most of the opportunities wherever he's at, and I think he's going to get on very well with the club and what they want to do, and the new players that are there, and also the experienced guys that have been there, the McGregors and other guys. They know last season wasn't good enough, and they want to get back to where they belong, and that's owning the premiership. And I think he's gonna do just fine.
Larry, we might get you on permanently on the channel because you're doing the Celtic propaganda a lot of good here, owning the Premiership. I need to get that in my wee phrase book for the season coming.
Yeah, I should have brought my jersey out. I do have a Celtic jersey tucked away somewhere. I have a close friend from that lives here now that's actually from Glasgow and was going to the games regularly. So I'm sure he's going to be excited with this surprise of seeing me on here.
Fantastic, mate. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. It's been great to get some insight into Cameron Carter-Vickers, and hopefully he goes on to have a very successful time of it at Celtic. Larry, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it, and hopefully, we see the making of a nice young star here in Cameron.